Hey everybody, Tommy Sims here, bass player and I guess these days what they call a Grammy Award-winning songwriter, and you're watching The Case for Bass.
But we need to talk about your Grammy, when you're winning the Grammy for Change the World. Even though we're a bass show, it is still a part of it because you are a songwriter. Tell us about, just give us the story of the journey of how you led to winning that Grammy, how it ended up in Clapton's hands, how it ended up in the studio, the producers, everything about it, and then getting that call saying that, by the way, we're being nominated.
Yeah, well, I'll let's see. The song started, I guess, two friends of mine were making an album, and two gentlemen, Gordon Kennedy and Wayne Kirkpatrick, two brilliant songwriters from our campus here in Nashville, that I spent a lot of my formative years here working with and making lots of music with. And so at this particular time, they had a band of their own that they'd formed and were putting together, and were putting music together for that band, as I recall. We did some recording sessions and cut some tunes for that band. And then I think we got down a good bit into that session, and they needed maybe some more material, or were looking for some more material. And I sat and played that riff for them, and that piece of music for them. And they went away and wrote the verses, came back with a couple of verses, and we recorded that song, just a demo version of it. I believe just Gordon and I actually were maybe the ones who did that on the tail end of a session I was doing somewhere up in Ohio or something, as I recall.
Wow. Okay.
And so we recorded this kind of little demo version of it, the two of us, and that made it into the hands of several different people. I think I know that Winona recorded a version of the song. Long before, or a little before. I shouldn't say long, because it wasn't that long. It's maybe 6 or 7 months prior to Clapton recording it, maybe. And but she was found out she was expecting during the time of the making of that album, and so she decided to take the rest of the pregnancy time off and come back to the record afterwards. Well, during the time that she was off, the song, I had a publisher in LA, the name of Ronnie Vance, who was taking me and my songs around the LA area to all the different music supervisors. And one of those supervisors, a very nice lady by the name of Kathy Nelson, who was the head of all the Disney-owned movie companies. She was the head of their music department. They had a movie they were working on. I think she landed on a DAT tape of songs of mine, and she picked this song.
DAT tape.
Well, yeah, that
remember
says
the
enough.
old school DAT tapes, right?
Doesn't that say enough?
Yeah. So she was the one that sort of zeroed in on this song, and got a hold of my publisher Ronnie, and wanted to subsequently meet with me at some point, and so that all happened within weeks, I guess. And she told me her ideas about the song, and she had the idea that she would get Eric Clapton to record it, and she would get Babyface to produce it.
That's some idea, isn't it?
Yeah. These were all some
like
of the
you
first
just
things
listened
that she said. Yeah. So I'm listening to the whole spiel, and I'm thinking, because I had just a publishing deal with these guys, so I'm thinking, okay, this is what they do in Hollywood. They give you the hype early on,
right?
And it's I don't need to put a lot of weight in what's being said right here. I don't think I don't know if any of this will happen. I mean,
right.
And that's kind of really honestly how I left that meeting, just feeling like that's very nice of her. It's very complimentary of her to say these things about my music, and throwing out these big names and stuff like that. I hope it happens. You know?
Like if there wasn't a secondary choice, maybe this, maybe that, she went right for it.
She said those two specific guys.
Yeah.
And she referenced a movie that she was in the middle of making, although she never said what movie that was at the time.
Right.
You know? And but with those three things said, you know, we wrapped up the movie, and I headed out, and didn't think that any of it, you know, would really translate to, you know. I just thought, yeah, it would be really cool if that actually happened. But
right.
I don't.
There could have been a secondary and a tertiary name and a third-rate producer. It could have been anybody. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah. So, you know, within a couple of weeks, it was all happening. You know, the sessions were being booked. You know, incredible. I was being called. And all these people were involved. They were, you know, the record was being made, and then the record got made, and then, you know, everything that happened after that happened. But that was the beginning of it. And then, you know, the record got made, and, you know, it got earmarked for a single, you know, to actually, you know, put out as one of Eric's singles. And I mean,
right.
I think the public, you know, had been in love with Eric Clapton for, you know,
decades,
certainly a while since,
quite a while.
Particularly since he had lost his precious son, you know, in that horrible situation.
Yeah, it was.
And so I think, you know, I think the public was just there for Eric in general, you know, and he put this record out, and they just embraced it, you know. They embraced it, but I almost feel like they may have embraced any record he put out, you know. In that time.
I think when we spoke before the interview, he always pivots.
Yeah.
And, but that song's a pivot.
Yeah. How long? What was the process from songwriting to Grammy? How long was that? A year, 2 years, 3 years? You're publishing? I mean, what's the process?
Yeah, something like that. You know, I want to say this must have been around, you know, 95, 94, 95, 96, somewhere in there, that we were first, you know, kind of tinkering around with the tune. And so yeah, by 96 it had been recorded by both Wynonna and Eric Clapton. And so so the Clapton version came out in 96, I believe. I believe that was the year it released. And then it was the next year that it was on the docket for Grammys and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's an incredible story.